Hey guys, how's it going? Like Butter here, and today I wanted to make a video talking about why I am so excited for the upcoming Gears of War game, Gears 5, and I have a list here on my computer that I want to go through with you guys and kind of go over all the reasons why you've seen in the last couple of weeks, maybe even couple of months, that I've really been hyping up Gears 5. Now, just a little background about me. I started my YouTube channel in 2007 on Gears of War 1. That YouTube channel took me till I think about 2010, where I then had to make another YouTube channel because I lost the first one. And eventually, I think in 2013 or 2014, I stopped playing Gears of War. And I think that was partially because of Gears of War Judgment really didn't, lead up to our expectations, live up to our expectations rather, and it was time for me to move on and do some other stuff, and that's when I got into PC gaming, and I kind of left Gears behind a bit because, Gears of War wasn't on PC back then, Gears of War Judgment, Gears of War 3, so I was playing games like DayZ and Counter-Strike and like all those PC, mainstream games, even League of Legends and whatnot. So I've kind of moved away from Gears of War and then came back in 2016 when Gears of War Ultimate Edition came out, that I was actually super excited for. Started playing Gears 3 again before that, and I loved Gears of War Ultimate Edition, but it was a remake, and remakes don't tend to last too long content-wise because it's still the game that people have seen for years and years and years, so people move on, And it came out on PC, and it wasn't great. It wasn't crossplay, none of that stuff. So I stopped playing, and Gears of War 4 came out, and I wasn't too happy with Gears of War 4. I was also doing The Division full-time. My channel was doing really well on Division. Gears of War 4 just felt way too conservative for me. It felt more like a remake of Gears of War 3, and it felt like the developers were very scared to innovate. And I understand that because I'm sure the all the things that they talked about with Judgment and all the, they're trying to adopt another game. And I know that can be really difficult because when you're trying to take someone else's creation and make it into your own, it can be very difficult transition. It can be very hard to try to envision what other developers saw and what their vision was, And I think they wanted Gears of War 4 to be more of a safe game for people to kind of just earn their trust. I think Rod said on stage at E3, and I think that's true. And you could really see that with some of the weapons that they added, the new weapons and whatnot. It didn't really feel like a new Gears game. It just felt like Gears of War 3, maybe even a little bit faster than Gears of War 3. There were some improvements, of course, but there were a lot of mistakes made throughout the lifespan of Gears of War 4. And I think one of those mistakes were they were just pushing esports way too much. And I understand they were trying to establish like an esports scene, and Gears has always had an esports scene there, but it felt a little bit too pushed in my opinion. And I think over time they kind of tried, things like the core tuning, even though I think the core tuning wasn't great for the game. I do think that they were trying to find a balance between esports and making the game enjoyable for somebody who just wants to get on and play the game and have fun. And I don't think Gears of War 4 lived up to my expectations in a lot of ways. However, over the last couple of weeks and the last couple of months that they've been releasing Gears of War 5 info, it is like the complete opposite experience. Like, it doesn't feel like the developers only care about esports. It doesn't feel like they only care about casuals. It feels like they're going to make a game that everyone can enjoy. You want to be, try to be a pro gamer, you want to go to events, blah, blah, blah. You have Escalation 2.0, you have that, that ranked playlist there if you want to practice and learn the mode. But also things like you're seeing in the gameplay here on screen, arcade mode, which is a much more casual mode that's meant for people who just want to get in and shoot each other. And there's a lot of really cool changes made to arcade, like being able to get headshots with any weapon and being able to buy guns on the new currency system. There's just a ton of good here in these modes that they're adding and that they're talking about. So let's go through this list that I got before I go too far on a tangent. So I have a list here of things that I think are very, very good for the game. No season pass. I don't know why, but they sold a season pass in Gears of War 4 that gave you nothing. It gave you like early access to developer playlists or something. They eventually started compensating people with the gear packs, which we'll get to next. But realistically, you gained nothing from the season pass because they wanted the maps to be playable for everyone. They didn't want to do what happened in Gears of War 3, where you had a large portion of people who didn't have the maps, so you split the community, which makes matchmaking longer, and it can be a disaster. And that brings me to my next thing. There are no more RNG gear packs. This was one of the biggest, and I mean biggest, complaints about Gears of War 4, and rightfully so. They had $10 loot box RNG packs for you to get skins and cosmetics. And a lot of times they were duplicates. And I think they eventually fixed the packs and made them much better over Gears of War 4's lifespan. They allowed you, the RNG became a lot, and I mean a lot more generous. And also, they allowed you to earn the packs with in-game currency, something that you couldn't do with the esports packs. But, it came down to the game feeling very icky, very gross on the fact of the game just felt like it was a cash grab when it came to all these new cool skins, even old characters from old Gears games being re-released in RNG packs that we had in the other Gears games, and it felt off, and it felt weird, and it felt wrong. And to see them learn from that and have no RNG packs, all the cosmetics are going to be direct purchase. I think that's absolutely phenomenal. They're going to be able to earn them. They said that you could earn them in game as well with their new bounty system, I think they called it. I don't remember exactly, but essentially you're going to be able to do stuff, and you're going to be able to earn drops after games. You get random weapons, random skins, and whatnot. And they're really excited for that, and I think that's good. And another thing that Gears of War 4 didn't have, especially on PC, which was an absolute huge hindrance, was there was no anti-cheat at all. So you could go into a game, you could have people aimbotting, and there's no software in place to stop them from doing that. Well, this time around with Gears of War 5, they did announce just yesterday that they are going to have an anti-cheat, easy anti-cheat, in my opinion, one of the better anti-cheats out there. This is the anti-cheat that Fortnite uses, that Division 2 uses, and I've never ran into a cheater on Division 2. I've never ran into a cheater on Fortnite. I know they're out there. I know that, but easy anti-cheat is, trust me on this, a very, very solid anti-cheat out right now. Mostly because they've gotten so much more funding with Epic purchasing them. So they have all the money in the world to, grow the team and make sure that they're putting out this software that protects these games and keeps them fair. And as somebody like myself who used to be, a competitive player in Gears of War, I went and competed in Gears of War 2. It makes me feel good, even though I only play pubs now, and I'm more of a casual gamer when it comes to, competitive versus casual. I like to just stream, enjoy myself, play ranked and sweat and ranked. It's going to be nice to know that I'm going to have a fair fight a large majority of the time. And this is also good because my next thing on this list here is that this game has crossplay. Gears of War 4 also had crossplay. Gears of War Ultimate Edition did not. And this is why I can't go on to Gears of War Ultimate Edition and play on PC, because there's no matches, right? There's no one playing. It's completely dead. There hasn't ever really been a prominent following for Gears of War on PC. It's always been primarily Xbox. And a lot of the changes that are coming with Gears of War 5 are actually pushing it the other direction and making it so that Gears of War 5 is 100% going to have a population on PC. Having crossplay and having this anti-cheat is a win-win for everyone. You may be on Xbox and say, oh, well, I don't ever have to worry about cheaters. Well, now if you're going to play crossplay with one of your buddies who's on PC, you don't have to worry about running into hackers all the time and running into people just running, scripts and ruining your time, right? Especially in ranked, when, you're working up your rank, and that sucks, losing points because some, basement dweller is running scripts and playing unfairly. So that's really good. and I'm really excited for that. Also, I just got word today that Xbox is going to have mouse and keyboard support as well, which is a really good thing. However, I do think that if they do this, and I don't know if they've said anything about it yet, if somebody plays on Xbox with mouse and keyboard, I really think they should be put into the PC pool of players, because obviously mouse and keyboard, it's very different. Although Gears of War, for one, is one of those games where, you know, it's more movement based and knowledge based rather than like raw aim, you know. Although it might be a little bit different in Gears of War 5 though, because we're going to be talking about the recoil pattern changes that they're making to some of their rifles. But overall, like, if people are using mouse and keyboard on console, I think they should be put in a pool of PC players, because if there's Xbox players out there that really just don't want to play against PC players, I think they should be able to toggle that off. Although I, as a PC player, really enjoy playing with people on Xbox because it gives us faster queues. You get a wider variety of people. You're not just playing the same people over and over again. You may play a little bit less, for example, maybe like Execution or something, which may not be super popular because it's kind of aged poorly. It would still give those people a chance to play those modes because it's a bigger player pool. Now, with the game being released on Steam at launch, which I can't even begin to explain how huge this is, because Steam is one of the biggest platforms on PC for games, and there is a huge Steam community and a lot of big streamers that use games like exclusively on Steam. Like, if they see a game on Steam, they're more likely to give it a shot. And you saw it with some of the big streamers in Gears of War 4 who even went to the trouble of going on the Microsoft Store and downloading the game. Gears of War 4 had this issue with 1080 cards and 1070 cards. I think it was anything in the 10 series where it was a crashing issue, a huge crashing issue. And NVIDIA never wanted to work with the coalition to get these problems fixed. You know, Gears of War 4 still has that crashing problem to this day. And it being on Steam is going to be completely different because NVIDIA is going to be under much more pressure to make sure that these types of things are fixed, because if there's more people playing, they're under more pressure to fix this kind of stuff, right? So it being on Steam is huge. I cannot stress how huge this is for Gears of War 5, and I honestly think that on PC, Gears of War 5 is going to have a much bigger player base, and it's going to be great. And I'm really, really excited for that. Also, the game is playable on Game Pass. Game Pass is probably one of the most pro-consumer things I've seen a company ever do. Microsoft basically has a subscription where you can pay for the subscription and play all of their games. They even have a new Game Pass Ultimate, which includes Xbox Gold as well if you end up playing on console. But regardless, like, this game being on Game Pass is just another reason why there's going to be more people checking it out, more people playing, and we're just going to have a bigger community, and that's super, super good. They also talked about the changes that they made to active reloads. Active reloads have always been a complete thorn in my ass in Gears of War, because I think it's so frustrating that somebody can just run up, pre-active their shotgun, and then all of a sudden they're shooting nukes, or pre-active their Lancer, and all of a sudden their Lancer is like double the damage. Well, they've done some different changes to the active reloads in Gears of War 5. The active damage is gone on the shotgun, for example. Now when you reload the shotgun, if you don't hit an active reload, it only gives you 3 bullets. Now, if you hit the active reload, it gives you a full 6. It's going to give you a faster reload, and it's going to give you more bullets in your magazine. So what you're seeing is they're giving you benefits of hitting active reloads without just giving you raw damage. Now, also, you're going to be able to get, I think it's different. They went over it. I think Node Zero went over it on Twitter. There's different changes for each individual weapon. So, like, single fire rifles will get more damage. Burst rifles will get like higher rate of fire, stuff like that. But the Lancer isn't getting a damage boost anymore. I think it's just getting a little bit of a rate of fire boost. And I think the shotgun, like I said, isn't getting a damage boost. And then the power weapons get special, whatever that means. So I'm assuming for like the torque bow or the boom shot, it'll be a little bit of a bigger blast. Maybe for the sniper, it's like the bloom maybe comes in a little bit faster. That was my idea back on Gears of War UE that they used, and I think it was really good because if you remember the sniper in Gears of War UE, it felt like an actual power weapon, whereas like in a game like Gears of War 3, Gears of War 4, Gears of War 2, the sniper really never lived up to being as strong as a torque bow or a drop shot or even a digger or a snipe or a boom shot. You know what I'm saying? Like none of those weapons ever lived up to that. So we'll have to see what they do with the sniper rifle. I'm not sure if it's bloom or if it readies faster or if it has a bigger bullet width, you know, a little bit more give to hitting headshots. Regardless, I think those are going to be some really good changes. And obviously tomorrow is the tech test. We'll be able to give our feedback on that. And like the coalition is listening to feedback this time around. It didn't really feel like they were listening to a lot of feedback in Gears 4. I could be wrong. That was just from my perspective. But this time around, it feels very, very different. So rifles now have recoil patterns, which is huge because now it's not just going to be like, oh, hold your Lancer and spray at somebody and hope your bullets land. No, there's going to be actual recoil patterns, which is going to make your weapon actually jump, and it's going to allow people to learn the recoil patterns, much like in Counter-Strike, so that those people who want to put the time into learning the recoil patterns and learning how to control the gun will have a better time, you know, shooting players than just straight up hold it on someone, hold left click, and hope that your bullets land. You know, the bloom on the Lancer was absolutely insane in the other Gears games, but you know, and because of that, they had to buff the damage insanely, like we saw with the core Lancer. So good thing that that's going away. All the weapons look so much beefier when you're shooting them now, which allows them to control the damage a little more. It won't feel terrible when you're running and just getting cross Lancer by 3 people just doing something like holding a cursor on somebody, you know? So that's going to be really good. The new UI, the crosshair, all that stuff looks amazing. The hit markers, the extra information, the reverse omen. I know the reverse omen's a hot topic when it comes to Gears fans because we've been used to having that you know, damage marker right in the middle of the screen, and it's always been really easy for us to kind of see. Well, the reverse omen, although I think it'll be a bit of an adjustment, I think overall being able to tell the direction you're being damaged from and how hurt you are in such a simple way really helps. Now, the only suggestion I would give is maybe lighten up the red overlay in the corners of the screens when you're full red a little bit. Maybe just up the or lower the opacity. Maybe instead of like it looks like it's about 80% or 70%, lower it to like 40. So you'll notice the pink tint over the screen, but maybe it's just not going to be as you know, gruesome or as brutal to look at. Which brings me to the next thing. The executions and the new weapons are absolutely phenomenal. Like the new executions are brutal. They're gruesome. The gore reminds me of Gears of War 1 and Gears of War 2, where, you know, in Gears 4, you'd chunk somebody and they just fall into like meat chunks and then they lay on the ground and there'd be like no blood or anything. This time around, there's like big puffs of blood and there's just guts flying everywhere. And, you know, the torso can like fly across the map like in Gears of War 1. If you remember in Gears of War 1, you torque bow someone or you boom somebody, you just see like body parts flying across the entire map, which didn't feel like it happened in Gears 4. It felt like they just kind of like fell into meat chunks, like I said, or just completely removed them altogether. That's going to be huge for that, you know, people like me who just like gory, gruesome games. It makes like killing someone with a shotgun or sniping them really, really satisfying. And I'm probably getting put on some lists for telling you guys this, but yeah, that's just classic Gears. And it seems like they really put a lot of time and effort into that. Same thing with like the headshot sound is just crunchy and gruesome, and it's great. A lot of the new executions look super, super good. Also, like I said, the new weapons, they weren't overly conservative with the new weapons. Like that new Lancer that has the grenade launcher under it, which shoots like a laser, and then that laser calls in like an airstrike or a mortar. That weapon looks so awesome. Obviously, you're not going to see that like in competitive play and escalation and whatnot, but it's going to be a super fun gun to use in ranked, and to see people get some crazy clips with those weapons is going to be so cool. Like 4 kills, maybe even an entire team just completely dead by that. it's going to be cool to see. And I really like that they weren't too conservative. They were way too conservative on the Gears of War 4 weapons. But it seems like they've really learned from that. They also talked about how, although there's going to be some remakes, they're not going to flood the game with remakes like they did in Gears of War 4. That was one of my biggest complaints. 90% of the maps that get played in Gears of War 4 are either Gears 2, Gears 1, or Gears 3 maps. Like, there's literally barely any new maps that get played in Gears of War 4. And a lot of that has to do with them being really open maps, very plain maps. And the reason that is because they built the maps around escalation. So hopefully this time around, they don't build all of their maps around escalation, because they got to realize escalation is only a small portion of their player base. A lot of people like King of the Hill, a lot of people like Guardian, a lot of people like TDM, a lot of people like, all the other modes, especially with arcade, people are going to be playing that a lot as well. So, that's going to be great. They also reworked a lot of the movement. So the up A and all the wall canceling stuff looks so much slower in this game, which is really good, because people who just constantly air bounce back and forth aren't going to be impossible to hit like they are in Gears of War 3. This is going to be good change, and I think overall, like, the movement just looks a little bit slower, a little bit more methodical, a little bit more up my alleyway. Like, I always wanted the game to go more of a Gears 1 direction, and it seems like this game to me is like a hybrid between Gears 3 and Gears 1. That's the vibe I get. And Escalation 2.0, they put a lot of effort into that game mode, although it's not for me. I probably won't play it much. I do respect the time and effort they put in to make a very in-depth mode for the competitive players. I still would have loved to see a bomb game type. I think this game would work so well with a bomb game type, kind of like Demolition from SOCOM or Search and Destroy from Call of Duty. Those types of round-based modes where you basically have one team on offense pushing the team on defense. But regardless, overall, I'm sure Escalation 2.0 will be good for a lot of people. So, seeing the crossplay and all this stuff that this game is going to have to offer, I could not be happier. Global weapon tuning, there's not going to be 2 different tunings. So, like, man, the list just goes on, and I'm just so excited for Gears of War 5. And look, I've been rambling for over 20 minutes talking about this stuff. So, I'm very passionate for it, and I'm hoping that any, like, people that are here from, like, Division or other games, give Gears of War 5 a shot. Get the Game Pass, try out the tech test, and see what you think. I think this is going to be a very, very good game for people who like third-person arcade shooters. It's going to be great. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop the video a like. Let me know what you guys think, and I will talk to you in the next one. Don't forget, I'll be streaming the tech test all week and posting videos, so hopefully you enjoy the content that's coming up. All right, take care, everybody.